All right, welcome. This is the Curry County Board of Commissioners Administrative Workshop, Wednesday, April 20th. It's 2:40, and we are talking about discussion of agenda procedures. And County Pope, County Council is the County Pope.
County Pope, yeah.
Pope County? That'd be great, yeah, sounds like a good job.
Oh, it's been a long day. He's the County Pope, and he is going to
Council us.
counsel us.
So yeah, the purpose of this workshop is that you guys asked me 2 weeks ago to put this on for us to discuss. If you remember, there are some changes that were recently made to the publishing date of the agenda that caused some discussion. And so it's kind of a time for us just to get together and to discuss, what we think of the agenda process as it is with those, times, dates, and maybe come up with more of a solid plan on when the due date should be for the agenda, when it should be published, and things like that. So.
Okay. I like it. Solve problems, not symptoms. What is the problem with agenda procedures? Well, I thought there was a problem, so I changed it. Now there's another problem.
Do you regret that?
Nope, I don't regret it.
I do.
I don't regret it. I think I shared with you guys my thoughts on it, and it was just about, because it was just like agenda, amended agenda, and it turned into all, and because the amended part was like highlighted, so then it just turned into this. And then and I didn't do it willy-nilly, right? I talked to you, Anthony, and he said, I think you did that.
What was that?
I think you can do that, he said.
Just change the publish
Yeah, so
time and date.
then, but we want everybody to have an input, the three of us, and come up to the conclusion. And I do have to say, when I hear that I really like it on Friday so I can look at it all weekend, I think, really, guys, you got to get a life if that's what you want to look at all weekend. Anyway, that's just a side note.
Well, I'm going to take a little offense to that, if I may.
You
That
can.
doesn't mean that I take the whole weekend. It means that I've got a time to take a deep breath and say, do I really need to dig into that deep and fulfill my responsibilities? So it's an advantage, and it's what we've done the 3 of the 5 years I've been here, maybe longer. And then you get into the public aspect. It gives the public extra time. So, one more thing, and then I'll give way here. But it's been kind of convenient to have that extra part of the Saturday and Sunday just to get my agenda items on there. And I had 5 or whatever this time. None of them felt like I could legitimately postpone a couple weeks. So having that Monday noon deal, to be fair to you, was not a bad thing. I still think for the public, we need to, and what I talked to Council Pope about was basically, what if we had a general idea that we could give to the public and the commissioners on Friday at 3 o'clock, which gets him out of here, which gets Staff Jesuit out of here a little bit earlier, and then we finalize it on Monday.
I'm good with that.
Because I'm assuming it would generally be maybe a 10% change, maybe 20%, it would vary. And by the way, I do agree that this may not necessarily change some of the agenda changes, but that is a consideration. I think that's a positive approach and worth kind of a second contemplation there. So,
Chris?
I have another completely different view of it, actually. I like the way it was, having them in on Thursday afternoon, get the agenda out by Friday. The difference I would love to see in it is once the agenda is done on Friday or Thursday night, once everything is submitted by 5 o'clock on Thursday, unless it's an emergency, there's no more additions.
Okay.
Period. It has to wait till the next meeting unless it's an emergency, because that gives us a chance to plan the meeting. You as a board chair, and I'm sure you also talk with Council Pope about, okay, these are the items we have for the agenda. Do we need to line them up a certain way? You know, if you've got people come that you know are gonna come for a presentation, you set them up differently. I think
Timing.
that's probably how you guys do. You arrange it that way. And that way nobody could throw a wrench in your work. After Thursday night, that's it, unless something happens. So I will say though that, you know, there are times on a Saturday or a Sunday that I'm sitting around, I'm doing nothing. And I pull up the county website, I pull up the agenda, and I go through the packet. And it gives me a good chance to, in my own quiet time, have a cup of coffee or a soda and roll through the agenda and see what's going to happen. And do I need to address anything? Do I need to do some research on something? So it does give me a lot more time, because Monday I may come in and Tuesday I've got a crazy day, you know, and I don't really have the time.
Or Monday, like this Monday, crazy day, yeah.
So I just like it being like it was on a Thursday night, and I would just ask that once that's done, unless it's an emergency, there are no more changes.
Well,
Well, that's how we ended up with a last-second budget committee in person on, what was it, February 2nd? So, would you mind putting that gavel down? I'm getting nervous. So, yeah, that's how we ended up with oh my gosh, the life that has had in that 2 months. So, and that's probably not over. If you make a lock solid rule on Thursday, that's a week ahead. Friday's, what, 3 business days ahead, and we seem to have a little bit of agreement here on weekend, you know, options, access. In the interest of a compromise, you're big on Monday. Mr. Pash is saying Thursday. You know, the other point I want to make, I'm sorry. There's a lot of things come up in 3 or 4 business days. So.
a lot of emergencies.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. You know, your idea of an emergency and mine might be 2 different things.
Right.
Okay, in fairness to both of us. But on a Friday, again, I'm gonna repeat. You know, I worked on a couple ARSs over the weekend and got my head cleared, and you know, I think that was a benefit. Whereas trying to get it to JJ by noon on Friday, sometimes there's a lot of pressure on us and him to get those agenda items in.
See, now you're
So-
pushing Monday again, so.
Well, what I'm saying is back to, I hear you. What I'm saying is back to, we have it 90% done by Friday at noon. And we can start reading and preparing on some of those. And Monday noon gives us a added time to, in the interest of compromise with what you're preferring.
Yeah.
And that gives it out to the public plenty of time. I don't know if the board wants to send it out on Friday to the public as well. I would recommend we do. That's just my opinion. And then, yeah, we've got 72 hours to see if there's something else that absolutely has to be on, which is 2 days in advance. And, you know, that gives the public time, that gives the commissioners time. You know, I think I'm hearing we generally don't want to throw things in last minute. I do agree with that. But if they're important and we don't want to have a big log jam for the next 2 weeks, you know, the board would be fairly open to that.
Well, I'm okay with last minute things if they're housekeeping as far as like consent agenda stuff. But for main board stuff, agenda items, what's your guys' thoughts on that? Because that's, I like having, you know, clean agenda, not a lot of amendments. Anthony?
It feels like there's kind of a mixed message there that, you know, we want to have the weekend to review things, but if things aren't due until Monday, it's kind of, you know, you're not going to have I don't know. Just seems like
Yeah.
it needs to be kind of one or the other.
Yep.
Yeah, I said 90%. I said that twice would be done. Maybe we won't have the discipline to do that, but again, you know, things come up. Big things come up.
Well, that would be an emergency.
So then it would take 2 commissioners strictly through Bach Office Manager, Council Pope, to say, hey, Commissioner Johnson, he doesn't want to have that on the agenda, period. What do you think, Mr. Jones or Commissioner Jones? So, you know, I hope it doesn't become it becomes the exception rather than the rule. But I think 90% done Friday at noon, and Monday we have it's done. That gives the the public and the commissioners almost 48 hours to review it. Can we try that for a couple months?
Thoughts? You said, you know, well, what we could do is we've tried it my way and it doesn't, it doesn't look like it's a go. We could try it Chris's way for 2 months and then Court's way for 2 months. And
So-
then pick.
Well, we basically had it my way, other than there was no more additions. So, I mean, it was that way for years, other than there was no more additions. I don't know if you want to try Court's way, I'm okay with that. I just,
Mr. Chair?
Yep.
What we don't want is a Tuesday morning cluster. I mean, that just, that really rubbed me the wrong way, and that's why I challenged you on the March 16th deal. I said, what in the world are you doing? You know, and so, and I wasn't even consulted. So that's why I had some hard feelings and some tremendous shock. And so what I'm asking is just back that up a day as a final. And if you do it Thursday and say, that's it, no more, then, you know, that's almost a week ahead of time.
Well, how about Friday at noon? It's done.
Well, that's what we had. That's what we had. So I was trying to offer you a compromise in that we could do the agenda on Monday instead of the day of the meeting on Wednesdays. Agenda item changes.
How about if we did Friday at noon, and only an emergency will we amend that agenda Monday?
Well, I don't want to be an obstructionist, but I think that's basically what we had, and if that's what you want to do, I think we should try that.
Well, and then just, you know, let's just all try to, you know, have a, I don't know, just work towards an agenda that is workable. I don't know.
Well, your wish to have a clean agenda, I appreciate. But county business is, it's intense, and it's, things come up. I mean, when I ran my lodge, we had a big repair list, to-do list, and it grew every time because of the unanticipated circumstances. And that's just business. That's just the way it is. So, yeah. Tell me what your interpretation of emergency is. I think I know, or I think I.
something that can't wait 2 more weeks.
Right?
And there's a lot of those.
Yeah.
There are a lot of those that log jam us up, and that's my concern here.
But my idea of an emergency might not be yours or Chris's, so I can wait. Your stuff can wait. Mine, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a tough one. Like, do we say, Anthony, you're the emergency decider? He says, no, you guys aren't paying me enough to be the emergency decider.
JJ should be the emergency decider.
How about Monday at 9 o'clock in the morning? That gives exactly 48 hours for the public, the commissioners, everybody.
I like that.
Let's do that. Let's just, you know, this is a workshop. This is
Try that.
why you have.
I'm
go ahead.
fine. So we're not going to publish anything till Monday. That's, there again, we're losing that weekend that I can.
that weekend.
Council, whoever can open their computer up and look at the, you know, the packet. Because some of those things in the packet are long. They're 20, 30 pages. If you're going to really read them.
Yeah.
I mean, I sat there and read the entire budget on my computer. I sat home for 3 days on a weekend reading my budget.
And that's the point I made with the Huxley aspect, and I paid him a compliment in that he made sure we were prepared, and I really appreciated that. So what if we did this? What if we it comes out to the commissioners on Friday, and if they have anything before 9 o'clock on Monday, they're going to have to get it in before 9 o'clock. It goes out noon on Monday, and the public is happy. And
Now,
we have a weekend.
That's a compromise.
I'm fine with it, yeah.
Was there anything else?
We can clean it. We'll have it. The commissioner will have it, right? Anthony, that's what you're hearing?
Yeah.
So then, are we kind of in agreement with that?
Yeah, I'm good with it.
I am.
So it's
Do I need
Monday
to
at 9
repeat it?
a.m. Anything that's going to be on the agenda has to be into JJ by 9 a.m. on Monday.
Yeah, but we'll have
We'll
it.
get it on Friday, what is already on the agenda.
Would that
Is that any more work to you, JJ, really?
That's the next question. He's gonna get a lot of his work done on Friday.
The key question is it 9:00:00 a.m.
Yes,
or is it 9 a.m.?
9:00:00. In
Okay.
other words, we have to push a button at 9 a.m. and we have liftoff.
So it goes out to the public on noon of Monday, is that correct? We're,
Because that gives us 3 hours to, update it and review it before we actually publish it.
good.
I think that would be.
And we'll just try this for a couple months or so.
Yeah.
All right.
So do we want to talk about how do we get items on the agenda? Who can submit an ARS?
Yeah.
It
If
has
it's
to-
on the list, let's talk about it. Go ahead, council.
Talk.
It's your workshop.
Yeah, that's, one of the questions I had when I got here is, the agenda process was kind of built around having a county administrator or a director of operations. So everything would come to them, they would kind of do all the work. Obviously, I don't have the same responsibilities as one of those positions. And from the county I came from, one thing we would do is that every agenda item would start in council's office, but it'd also go to either the finance department or the treasurer. And so I would look over the legal things, they could look over the financial things, and then we would, then it would come to the Bach office and get ready for publish. So that was just some, ideas of other ways we could kind of route the agenda, have a different process. So if you guys have
So
any-
if something financial is a moot point, it doesn't need to go to finance.
Right, yeah, so if it's a, policy thing or something.
Right, okay.
And the same thing if it's just like a pure finance thing, it might come through, my office, but it's, I'm not gonna be reviewing it, it's just kind of giving the legal.
It just
okay.
needs to go ahead.
Well, I just know when I send mine to JJ, I CC you on everything I send to JJ. I automatically CC council on it, so.
It just needs to go to you as county council and Bach office manager. We don't need to go to treasurer finance unless you determine that that's your call,
Okay.
in
fair
my
enough.
opinion.
I'm fine with,
So if a department head wants to put something on the agenda, it's gotta go through Bach office manager, county council, and you'll report to the commissioners and see if there is support for that. Without that support, it can't go on the agenda by 2 votes. Okay,
how about elected officials?
same thing.
I disagree with that.
Okay.
An elected official has the same priorities that we have. They have the same power that we have. If the assessor wants something on the agenda, he can write an ARS and it's on the agenda, period.
That's not true.
Well, I don't know.
It's-
Because
it's-
if one of us wants something and you guys, if I want something and you guys don't, you can kick it off and I'm okay with that. I mean,
Well, it would still be a board decision in the meeting if we want to remove it, but I think they should have an equal right to put something on the agenda. They're elected officials.
They have to go through 2 commissioners though. So they can't just automatically be sanctioned, just like I do. Go back to the commissioner job description and it'll tell you what our authority is and isn't, and what our responsibility is and isn't.
Okay.
So department heads, elected officials, commissioners are all in the same boat. It's gotta-
well, I agree with Chris that says, they can
Submit an
submit
ARS.
an ARS, but I guess anybody's can get kicked off without two commissioners, if 2 commissioners agree, right?
Yeah.
But what I heard him say was, maybe I misunderstood, is
think we
that
did.
they have the same right as any other elected official. Generally, I agree with that. However, you just clarified, so I think we can move on from that. We do have agreement?
Yep.
Okay.
Now what, Anthony?
I was just gonna say, I've been working with Rabia. We've been kind of updating the ARS sheet, but it's not really ready for the spotlight yet. So in the next couple of weeks, I might send over. Just one thing I'd like to see added is the language for the motion that they're asking for to kind of make it easier for you guys or make it very clear what they're asking for. So we'd have them actually put the motion that they're looking to the board to make, to approve this contract and give signature authority to the board or something like that.
Okay.
Just little things.
Well, on the pull-down menu, there are things on the
Oh, is
pull-down.
there?
Yeah,
Oh.
if you click on the pull-down on the ARS, there's like 6 items there.
Okay. Take a look at that.
Maybe there needs to be 7.
Well, no, I'm saying if you want to add another one, that's fine. I'm just saying, I don't know if you knew about the pull-down
I
menu.
didn't know.
Are we on item number 3 of the agenda here?
We're
Yes.
just kind of,
Okay.
going all over the place, but
I got lost here for just a minute, to be
no,
honest.
not a problem. That's really all I have. Do you guys have anything else you want to add or ideas or brainstorming.
I'm good.
Sometimes we don't, if I may, sometimes we don't want to have two workshop items in the same afternoon. Maybe I don't mean to speak for everybody there. I don't really care, but sometimes it kind of can pile us up a little bit if we have too much on any afternoon. You know, I think you prayed for a good meeting today, and I think we had a very good meeting. Maybe not the best, but
Best meeting ever.
rate's right up there. So, I guess where I'm going is, do we want to just have one workshop at a time and not have a couple? What's the consensus of the board there?
I'd like to say that I believe is made up by county council and the chair. You know, you guys are gonna know the final agenda, how many items we're gonna have on it, and something I would ask everyone that fills out that ARS, when they put time needed, if you think you need 10 minutes, add another 5, because it's always gonna go over a minute or two. And that way there, if these two know that we've got 6 hours of agenda items, it turns into 7.5, it screws everything up. So getting back to the workshop thing though, if you guys know that we've got, you know, basically 2.5 hours of ARS time allotted, so it could be an easy day, you could make 2 things on the workshop agenda. If it's, looks like it could really jam up, then as you set the agenda for the next meeting, you'll know and set it at 1 agenda item. That's how I would do it.
I like that.
I mean, you guys set the agenda and the
Yep.
timelines for the meeting, so that you'll know how many hours it's gonna take you to hold your meeting.
Well, and then there are some ARSs that don't have a time.
I can't imagine that they would be allowed.
Say that again?
Well,
Please.
we could probably go into,
I wouldn't accept an ARS without a time
Yeah.
time needed.
so we're actually,
if you're
we're
gonna have
actually
a big-
over time on this one.
If you're gonna have a presentation, like
Right.
let's say we're gonna have a presentation and you think 4 people are gonna speak, you don't put 15 minutes for the presentation because you got 4 people gonna speak.
I gotcha.
That's gonna take 45 minutes.
So that took an hour. I think we're getting close to being done, but that's why they call it a workshop.
Yeah. Well, yeah, workshop is pretty different.
Yeah,
So-
it's laid back. It's, excuse me, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking of, you know, a regular meeting, getting those times. I like your idea about, you know, even maybe a memo, Anthony, to,
How to properly fill out an ARS.
yeah. And be sure to give yourself enough time.
Yeah.
So we're in
'Cause you don't
agreement
wanna
on
be the
that.
chair going, sorry, you're up on time and you're only halfway through.
Right.
Well, I'm sorry, but you miscalculated. Get out of here.
So what I'd like to do is I'll prepare an order kind of outlining these things, because in the past there are other orders out there that had different procedures and they kind of clash. So maybe an order that kind of, you know, starts fresh, and this is what we're doing moving forward, and we can of course update that and stuff as needed.
Go ahead, I think you're gonna say, we wanna give this 2 months or something.
No,
or-
I heard you, and I think that's really important to reference those other orders and how you phrase that. I'm sure you'll know what to say, that basically this would supersede all those, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Anything else for the good of the order?
You've been anxious to grab that gavel.
You know, if it's not the gavel, it's a paperclip, so.
So, Council Pope, yeah, thanks on that, and for working and good agenda and good outline, so.
JJ for that.
Here it goes. Meeting adjourned.
So while I have you sitting right here, how are we?